Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Max Chamber Power Hour Business Development Virtual Live Stream, proudly presented by Google. My name is Jifa Nyonuglo, Executive Assistant at the Millions African Chamber, and then I'm here and I'll be your host for this section. Tonight's discussion is titled Make AI Work for You, and it's all about helping entrepreneurs and small businesses owners understand how to use AI tools like Gemini and NotebookLM to identify opportunities, automate workflow, save time, and turn everyday business problems into practical AI-assisted system. Our featured speaker is Jasmine Shells, a Grow with Google coach, founder and CEO of 529, and founder of 312 Labs. Jasmine is a serial entrepreneur, product leader, and business coach dedicated to helping entrepreneurs move from a business idea to a real business. Through 312 Labs, she empowers small businesses, owners, and startup founders to accelerate growth using AI, product innovation, and go to market strategy. Jasmine Coaching is backed by proven venture scale success. As founder and CEO of the 529, she built an enterprise software platform from zero to one, raised millions in venture capital, and generated revenue from global brands including Verizon, Harris, Nexstar, and Splunk. Journey earned her a spot onto the Forbes 30 under 30 list of the enterprise technology and an appointment as a U.S. Department and State Entrepreneurial Fellow, where she taught venture strategy in emerging market globally. Jasmine is a graduate of the University of Notre Dame and an MBA entrepreneurial scholar from the University of Chicago Booth School of Business. She currently serves on the board of Notre Dame Entrepreneurship Center and has been featured in TechCrunch, Business Insider, and TEDx. Jasmine is passionate about democratizing the Silicon Valley playbook so every entrepreneur has access to the tool, strategies, and confidence needed to create their own opportunity. Jasmine, we're honored to have you here today. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here today.
Perfect. We'll now turn it over to Jasmine for her presentation. You have 40 minutes.
Thank you. Well, I'm super excited to be speaking with you all today about a topic that I think is super fun, which is AI. I think we've all been hearing so much about it and the impact that it's having on on multiple industries, right? And I'm sure that there's plenty of examples you can think about on how it's impacted you, your industry, maybe even your workplace. So, what I'm going to walk through today is specifically for people who are entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, how you can leverage Google's tools. Specifically, we'll focus on Gemini and NotebookLM today in order to help you automate some of your work. And then also, I could just show you a couple cool things that I think are just really fun to learn about the tools we have in our ecosystem. So as you can see, I have this welcome screen up here, and it's really, I want to talk and tell you about these things, but also want you to do those things because doing builds confidence. So if you are in front of a laptop and you're able to log in and go to gemini.google.com, these are some things and some of the prompts that we actually like to take people through to think about how they can start to have AI automate and help their lives become a little easier. So take a screenshot of this if you didn't have time to kind of do it during the intro, and we'll just kind of go through piece by piece as we go along in the presentation. So already got an incredible intro, so I don't need to dive any more into myself, but I've been in the entrepreneurship space for over 10 years now. And one thing I have thought about a lot is what am I doing that AI can help with? And one thing I've used it for my businesses, I've used it for my real estate, I've used it for admin work. So, really thinking about how can I duplicate and kind of duplicate myself in order to make it a little bit easier to get through all the work that I have. As entrepreneurs, we typically are managing multiple tasks. So this is our agenda for today. We're going to talk a little bit about prompt engineering. We're going to share a couple examples of how people have collaborated with AI and save time with AI. And then at the end, we'll build an action plan. So prompting. I'm sure you all are pretty familiar with prompting. This is kind of like the intro to prompting, but one thing that people are really not as good at is sometimes prompting well. So what is it? Quickly, just get us on the same page. Prompting is just about giving AI instructions so it can help you achieve what you want to. Okay. So if you want to write a prompt to delegate a task, this is a really, really popular framework that I encourage you all to take a screenshot of this or memorize it because this is how you get the best results. I don't know if you've ever heard of the term AI slop, right? So when people just throw stuff in AI and it gives them a response, typically AI slop comes from the fact that AI did not receive the right prompts or the right information. So your prompt should always include these 5 things, which is a task, a persona, format, context, and references. So task. Think of it as this. Perhaps you want to say, in my workplace, I'm asked to create and adapt presentations, right? So let's say one of my recent projects was to create an investor deck for my co-founder as we were going to go out to fundraise. So, you're giving it like some specific information of, I want you to help me create this deck, okay? And you are a persona. So give AI its own identity. You can tell it you are a venture backed VC with 10 years of experience and you've reviewed thousands of decks within the human resources technology space. That's where my first company, it was a human resources technology company. So you let it know how it should be thinking about this when it's reviewing it and the type of expertise it should have, because think about it, AI can reach from so many different places and bring all this information in. So if you give it a specific lens to work through, it's typically more accurate. And then you tell it the format. So I'm going to say, hey, I want you to create a deck, specifically a presentation deck. And let's say there's any context that you want to give it, like perhaps for this specific meeting with this VC that you want to raise venture capital for, you want to give AI the website, maybe the LinkedIns of the people that you're meeting with. You might want to say, hey, this is going to be our second meeting with them. This particular firm is really specific around the financials, right? And knowing what our EBITDA is and our gross margin. So make sure that those details are super accurate and benchmark them against other competitive companies, right? So that's some context that you can give it. And last but not least, let's say you have some reference material. So let's say you do have a deck that you use for another presentation, just as an example, but this isn't the deck you want to use for this one. You're saying, hey, here's an example of a deck, or hey, here's our financial projections. You can use this to help fill in the information. So you see how much I just said versus someone just going, hey, AI, I want you to create me a deck for this meeting I have tomorrow. This is a much more informed way through this method to get the answers that you need to have the best presentation possible. All right. And another thing I want to talk through is building a prompt library. So if you find that you built a prompt that really, really works well, we say build a prompt library and share that with your team. Why? Because if you learn how to prompt well, people on your team may not. So if you're spending money on AI and they don't know how to prompt in the best way, perhaps using that 5-prong model I just showed you, you can give them that and say, hey, this is how you are to ask AI to create a presentation deck for you, or this is how you are to ask AI to create a meeting agenda for you. So you can create a prompt library, and this has been very, very popular with a lot of individuals. Another thing that's really great Gemini can do is that it's built for multimodality. What does that mean? It basically means you could throw text, images, audio, code, video in there, and it can interpret that. So it's so powerful because instead of just having to rely on text, right? You think about Google search, we just do a lot of text. With Gemini, you can throw any and everything in there. So it's really nice because it can understand so much more than just text. And I'm going to do a demo for you of this company called Harmonious Hues. And essentially, we'll be leveraging this as a way just to kind of walk you through how we can leverage some of those tools. Okay. So what I want to do, I know we have about 40 minutes. I want to show you a couple examples of how people have leveraged AI. Um, this one example that I'm actually going to show you is with this woman named Jessie. She has a business called Aunt Henry, and essentially her business it specializes in handmade textiles, quilts, crafting supplies. So she's going to talk about how Gemini helped her to analyze trends and brainstorm new product ideas. So we're going to listen to this video really quick.
I would say about 20% of my products now have been created with the help of AI, and I expect it to grow in the future. One of the challenges I face with running an online store is keeping it stocked and planning ahead. We continually have to add new products. It's often difficult to predict trends. I decided to use Gemini to conduct market research to look ahead and see what will be trending in the next season and how that aligns with my business and what I can create based on what's trending. It gave me a good response, but it was too general. And then I asked it to narrow it down to items made out of fabric. So it's several questions back and forth until it gives me the result that I want. It suggested that fabric scraps and items made from repurposed textiles is trending this season. I had a lot of fabric, so I decided to cut it all up, put it in bags, and sell it as fabric confetti as a craft supply. Fabric confetti is one of my best sellers, and it is the highest viewed item in my shop. Gemini is my brainstorm partner for everything now.
Yeah, so you see how she was able to actually interact with Gemini to help her accomplish a business need and increase just the productivity, the efficiency, all those things. So we love sharing these actual use cases of businesses who leverage Gemini well. And if you have any use cases of how you have leveraged this well for your business, would absolutely love if you could share. Google's always looking to highlight awesome entrepreneurs like yourselves if you have like really cool ways that you've done something with their products. So that's just a FYI. So moving on, the next thing I want to talk about is something called prompt chaining. So prompt chaining is when you, oh yeah, thank you for sharing that in the chat. Prompt chaining is a way that you actually use a Gen AI tool to build on an idea. So for instance, this person, we said Harmonious Hues, this is our business use case. So they're a painting company. So they want to expand their service offering. So they're telling Gemini, you are going to act as my business advisor. Okay, that's your task, that's your role. And list 3 services we could provide. Okay, so we're like, what are the 3 services? So it actually gives you 3 options. And it's like, okay, well, how can I think about which one of these 3 options will be the best? So this is how you kind of go about prompt chaining. For you, these 3 options are great, but I need to do this within 6 months. Can we make this possible? So you follow up. Prompt chaining is about building within a conversation. So which of these can we launch within 6 months? Okay. And it tells you power washing. So what's really nice about prompt chaining is because sometimes people will just try to dump, hey, Google, I'm trying to expand my business. I need to do this in 6 months and I have all these questions. And it just, you'll throw and dump everything in there. Prompt chaining helps the tool to not hallucinate and gives it focus on one thing at a time. So it's a very, very powerful way to have a conversation with the AI. Next, if I want to move forward, what task should I complete this week to make power washing happen, right? So you ask this question, you're still continuing to build on that conversation, and it gives you your action plan for the week. So you see how you took a really big idea, which was how can we expand our business into another line of business based on what we do? It says you could do power washing within the 6 months, and this is how you can get started on that this week. So that's something that's really nice about this type of tool and how you can leverage it. Another thing is just you can ask it like, hey, if you've been putting off a certain task, you can say, I've really been putting off, I have an Airbnb. I've really been putting off, getting my Airbnb on the market and I don't know where to start. I want you to act as an expert, an Airbnb expert who's done this for the last 10 years and give me 3 ideas for getting started. And it can do that. So these are just ideas on how you can leverage it and how you can get started with prompt chaining and collaborate with AI. The next thing that I want to show you, which is super cool. So Gemini in the mobile app, you can actually have a conversational experience with Gemini. So I have to show you because I think it's one of the coolest features, and I'm going to demonstrate this with my phone that you can use. So when you go inside of the app, you can see right here, you come and you click this button. So we're going to click this button. Okay. Oh, I have to increase my volume. Okay. Hello, Gemini. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing well, thank you. How about you?
I'm doing well. I'm actually giving a workshop on Gemini right now to Midlands. And essentially, we're using a business use case of this company called Harmonious Hues. It's a painting company.
That sounds like a great workshop. Harmonious Hues. Interesting name. How can I help you with the business use case?
So we offer painting services, but we recently added power washing. We really want to attract new customers.
That's a great expansion. Adding power washing can definitely attract new clients looking for bundled services. Are you looking for marketing ideas to reach these new customers or something else?
I actually want to know, what do you think is the greatest risk to expanding to power washing? Tell me that.
One significant risk is the potential for damage. Power washing uses high pressure water, which could damage property if not done correctly,
Wait.
leading to
So do you think that it's not a good idea, or do you think we can still expand into it, but we just have to think about this risk?
expansion can definitely be a good idea, but it's important to be aware of the risks. By having proper training.
So that's just an example. I had to show you Gemini Live because you could think of it as almost like your co-founder or your thought partner, where you can bounce ideas of what you're trying to do and the risk associated. Something else that I use Gemini Live for, I'll be honest, I use it to practice Spanish. So I studied abroad when I was in Spain, and I lived with the host family, and I was like fluent in Spanish. And then I came back stateside, and it's just sometimes hard to practice the language. So I actually sometimes will just practice with Gemini Live, and I'll go, hola, ¿cómo estás? And it recognizes I'm speaking to it in Spanish, and it responds to me in Spanish. So it's a really great tool to do everything from being a thought partner to even practicing a language that you maybe haven't had a practice partner for some time. So moving forward, the next use case, I know we talked about collaborating with AI. Now we're going to talk about saving time with AI. So Gemini isn't the only tool that can save you time. The other tool that is so popular with entrepreneurs is called NotebookLM. So NotebookLM, think of it as Google's AI-powered research and writing assistant. And I'm going to show you some examples, and we'll do a quick demo of it. But first, I want you to hear from Mike from Heritage Hospitality Group. He's based in Chicago, and I want you all to hear how he used NotebookLM.
As a small business owner, my time is limited. So I use AI to help me create efficiencies throughout the business. Here's how I use AI to make communicating employee policies easier. In order for me to be efficient with my time, it's incumbent on me to find the resources available for my employees to have on hand. I would spend my time explaining and re-explaining policies and procedures to new employees. Previously, we'd have notebooks on site. Those would get lost. You'd have procedures you put in place that are then updated by the city of Chicago. I realized that NotebookLM would be an amazing tool to help with this issue. So we took the documents we already had existing in Google Drive. We would upload them straight into NotebookLM. Now we have 30, 40 different procedures and policies now in a notebook. From there, we send it off to employees. Now they can ask questions to NotebookLM directly. For example, if a new employee comes on board and asks, hey, how much time do we get up? What is the PTO policy? These things are kind of nuanced. It takes time to explain, but they can now ask the questions in Notebook, which is giving them answers based on the files that we uploaded. Now I can create the policy and get it out to people in a matter of minutes. I can't count how much time it's going to save me in the future.
Awesome. So I love that example in particular because when I had my company, scaled it to 20 employees, and please go to notebooklm.google.com while I'm telling this story because we're going to do a quick demo on this. I'm going to show you how to use it. But to go back to the story, so I've scaled my company to 20 employees, and people will always come to me as the CEO. Hey, what's the PTO policy? Hey, how do I go about requesting budget for this? Hey, when it takes a lot of time to answer every person that question, definitely when you don't have like a dedicated HR team, which we didn't. So NotebookLM, as you see for Mike and his growing staff, was a really great way for him to automate himself and save time by just putting all the information in one place and giving the employees the ability to go access those docs and ask information of them. So I'm going to actually share my screen to NotebookLM, and we're going to take a peek. So I'm going there. If you have it open, you'll see. But boom. All right, so we are inside of NotebookLM. So this right here, these are what are called your notebooks. And your notebooks essentially are just things that you build upon. That could be your HR policies. It can be docs and information about a customer that you're trying to sell to. It could be all of the materials you need for your investor deck. You can really put any and everything in there. But the example that I'm going to show you all that I built for you is a sales example. So this example right here is for a particular company. This company is called Brightcart, okay? And we are trying to land Brightcart as a customer. So Brightcart is the company we want to acquire as a customer. So what I did was I uploaded documents. So you can add sources to NotebookLM. Oh, it's acting a little funny right now, but you can add sources. And these are the sources I uploaded. So you can upload files, you can connect it to your Google Drive, you can upload YouTube videos. And what I uploaded specifically for NotebookLM was one, the discovery transcript, which just means the one-on-one call I had with the person I was looking to sell to at Brightcart. I just had a call with them to ask them what their greatest pain points, their challenges were, how they were currently handling their problems. That's what this is. So it's just a transcript that I recorded of that call. This right here is just notes that I took from the transcript to break down what the intro call was. So taking those discovery notes and just saying, hey, summarize this. So if people wanted to read it, they don't want to come and read a transcript. They just want to read the highlights. Then this is market research. So I did research on other competitors in the space who also might be trying to get Brightcart's business to see how we stand out. And last but not least, this right here is the name of my business, right? In this example, we're called a Pipeline Pilot, and I gave it our sales one-pager. Hey, this is our one-pager on how we actually do sales, and I put all that into NotebookLM. Now, this is where it gets powerful. I could come to NotebookLM and I can say, hey, what do you think my greatest challenge will be selling to Brightcart? Okay, based on all the information from the transcripts to the overview notes to the market research to what we do in terms of our one pager, I'm going to ask that to NotebookLM. Okay, and it's going to respond. So basically, it says your greatest challenge would be overcoming CRM trauma from their previous failed implementation. So basically, it sees that the VP of sales from Brightcart, they had a failed rollout initiative, okay? And it's like, would they want to go through all that again? How do they know that it won't fail if they work with us versus from the other customer that they worked with, okay? So what's nice is I can ask another question, but NotebookLM is smart. It will actually suggest questions that it thinks you might ask next. So how should I address the failed CRM rollout with reps? I think this is a pretty good one. Let's try that. And let's see what it says. It says responding. Okay, perfect. It basically says you must pivot from data entry to automated assistance that saves them time. So it then gives me kind of sales bullet points on how I can go about doing this. To go even further into how cool this is, you can also, and I built these ahead of time, you can do audio overview. So you can have NotebookLM actually take all your notes and create a podcast for you. So let's say you're driving to meet the Brightcart team in person to sell to them. Instead of you having to sit down, let's say you just ran out of time and read these notes, you have to drive, you can take this podcast and you can listen to it on your drive. It's so cool. And it could just tell you all about Brightcart and you can listen to it.
Imagine spending millions of dollars to collect every possible detail
Isn't
about
that
your
cool?
customers.
Right.
You track every click on your web.
You can also ask it to create a slide deck for you. So I asked it to create a slide deck for me, and I think you could kind of see it. And basically saying, this is how BrightCard can unlock repeat revenue, because Pipeline Pilot, what we do is we're a CRM. We help companies to get sales. So it essentially literally walks through how we can sell to them. It gave us a deck specifically tailored to BrightCard and their needs. It's so neat. So that's one thing that's really powerful about this, is that your Notebook LM, you're giving it the information that you want to have and it decisions off of it. You can do quizzes, reports, flashcards, mind maps, data tables. I'm telling you, it has so much capability. So this is one of the most popular kind of tools right now that Google has, because of all the capabilities it has to help automate, save time, but then also prep for high stakes meetings. All right, so we're going to go back into our presentation after that demo. But yeah, definitely I encourage you all to go play around with the tools, try them out. And I gave you a couple use case examples. So hopefully, you can take those and think of how they will apply for you in your business. And this is a stat that I think is pretty powerful. So small business owners report a weekly savings about 13 hours a week due to AI tools. Now, I don't know about you, but since I discovered working with AI, I can definitely say it saved me time. So it has a lot of power if you just sit down and you teach yourself how to use it. You can really, even though upfront is going to take you a little time to get used to it, long term is so worth it. And another thing that we really like to talk about is just what we call act responsibly. So a human in the loop approach is really important. I know some people talk a lot about with AI, oh, well, AI slop, or how can we know if it's accurate or not? You should never, ever just use AI and just let it do its own thing. You have to, even for me, I've used it for important business meetings, but I still have to look at what it says, because sometimes it's wrong. Okay. Sometimes it's wrong. And you're like, hey, that's wrong. And it will acknowledge that. Or even letting people know, oh, I used AI to help generate this, and that's okay. So think about how you want to act responsibly with AI. And definitely as a business owner, if you're leveraging it with your team, make sure that you have some sort of rules, guidelines, best practices for how they should use AI and how they should not use AI. For example, a good example could be, hey, team, how you should use AI is to help you to summarize notes, or, to help you prep for meetings. But how you should not use AI is just to copy and paste whatever it says to email back a client, right? That could be an example. So prep is fine, but ultimately we still want you to be in charge of your work and own your work. And when it comes to building your AI action plan, that's also important. I know we've covered a lot of ground today, from writing effective prompts with the prompt framework, creating a prompt library, prompt chaining using Gemini Live, talking about Gemini, and also demoing with Notebook LM. But now it's like you have to put everything you've learned into practice and think about what is going to be your personalized AI action plan. And this can be for you, or this can also be for your team, kind of how I was just saying about that prompt library, or how you should and should not use it. Really think about what your action plan should be. Some people go into their companies and they say, we want 100% adoption of AI. We want everyone using it, which is great. Like, you can say that. However, just telling people to use it without helping them understand how it can actually work for their use case is kind of troublesome. Because like I said, people will just throw things in there and see what they get back. So having examples like Mike's, for instance, from Heritage Hospitality Group, of how he used it for AI, for HR, is very helpful, because it gives your team and even yourself a framework of how they should be thinking about using it versus just using it for any and everything. Give them a use case that can build confidence for them and actually help them to see the results and the benefits of AI. And this is a freebie to you all. It's a very great thing that you can have if you want to learn how to build tools and more skills with AI training. Obviously, you came here to this workshop on your Thursday evening, the week of Juneteenth, right? So, you're very dedicated to helping improve your skills. But these are some other things that you could take advantage of. One is the Google AI Professional Certificate. You can take that literally if you just go to grow.google/business, and it's at no cost for you and for your employees. So this is a really awesome thing to take advantage of. And even for make AI work for you, which is this is what this is. If you want to go watch it on YouTube, you can do that as well. Okay. And furthermore, building AI habits is important. So if Google just had Google I/O where they announce all these new tools and updates. So even for me as a coach, I learn the tools and then updates come out and I'm learning new things. So really think about how you can maybe once a week commit to learning something new with AI because the landscape is just changing so fast. New tools, products are coming out all the time. So just think about newsletters you can subscribe to, people who are in the space that are experts that you can subscribe to just to keep yourself up on everything that's happening in the space. And I would like to say thank you. But before that, one thing that is super important is you can sign up for a small group session. So essentially, these small group sessions, they're free sessions where Google, we do small group coaching. So let's say you came out of this workshop and you're like, well, I want to know how I can set up NotebookLM for my business, or I want to know how to use Gemini, or you were using it and you stumbled across something you didn't understand, or you want to ask more about other opportunities that Google has for small businesses, if it's funding or if it's other workshops or certificates. You could come to this if you just scan this QR code. You just fill out the information because you attended this workshop and you get to come for free to one of my small group coaching sessions. Or you can even ask me questions about being an entrepreneur, all those things on the table. So I definitely want to give you all time to sign up if you have not already. Okay.
Thank you, Jasmine, for that valuable presentation. Let's make some time to explore the key concept through a few questions.
Yeah.
The floor is also open to audiences. If you have any questions for Jasmine, please feel free to type them in and then the chat, and we'll address them as we go. So, I want to dive a little bit deep into this topic, and then I want to ask you this question straightforward. So, let's begin with the foundation. Many entrepreneurs are hearing about AI, but they may not know where to begin. What is one simple way business owners can start identifying, and how and what can AI help them help with?
Got it. So, what is one simple way business owners can start identifying what and how AI can help them with? One simple way is just where do you feel the pain? Where's the pain, right? Like that's where the best ideas come from is the pain points. So for my business, one pain that I really had was invoicing our customers because it was something I had to do manually. So it's thinking about, well, can I use AI to remind me or to send off the invoices on their own when it comes to that time when I have to re-invoice the client? So little things like that are really important for revenue, but are also administrative. So how can you make sure that you're maximizing business opportunity while reducing administrative activity?
Great, great, great. I like that. I like that. Exactly. So that leads me to the next question, which is because many small businesses owners are already doing taxes, every day with AI. And then one question is, what are the example of everyday business tasks that entrepreneurs can delegate to AI tools like Gemini? Can they send set up Gmail where they can just send email when the people, the customers send them emails, or like what are the kind of example that you
So
can do
one
that?
thing I did not get to show you all today that sometimes I show in small business coaching is how to build a gym. And a gym is kind of like an agent. So you have gyms, you have agents. So one thing that I like to do specifically for myself is I built an agent or a gym, right? That helps look over my calendar, look over my email. And at the beginning of the week, I'm like, hey, Tell me what I did last week and what I need to do this week. And this gem, I call it my administrative assistant. Okay, so that is the persona and the task that it takes on. So that's one thing that I use Gemini for all the time, because it's kind of hard to keep track of all the things I've done in a week. But for the fact it could go through my calendar, my email, it can go through my docs and everything and just kind of say, hey, these are the top priorities, is key.
Oh wow. How do you do that? How do you put that together? Can you show us together? I mean, or is it something we can do later? Because I would love to do that.
Yeah. So let me go to Gemini. I can actually show you right now if you want.
Perfect. Yeah.
So, 1 second. I'm just trying to get this up. Okay. Let me share my screen. All right, so now we're inside of Gemini. So if you come, you can see, correct?
Yeah.
If you come to Gemini, so gemini.google.com, you come down to this little thing that looks like a gem, you click it, right? And you can see these are some pre-made gems by Google, and these are my gems. All right, so I have my skeptical investor that helps me with building out presentations for investors. I have my chief of staff, and I have operations assistant. So as you can see, this one for me is really popular because I keep building things that help me with ops admin, that help me keep on top of my schedule. So this operations assistant, this gem helps me with ops, right? I can show you how to build it. I should show you how I built it first. You come and you create a gem. You give the gem a name, right? So maybe it's my sales strategist. Okay. And then you give it a description. Helps me with all things sales. And then the instructions, I will want you to use that 5-prong, task, context, reference, framework here to give it all the information that it would need to be the sales strategist for you. Hey, you're the top sales strategist for SMBs that are focused on the HR industry. I need you to, be really big with your financial numbers and your data when it comes to sales, right? You can give it all that like background. And then if there's any files that you have, like any context, like perhaps a 1-pager, you can give that as well. And then after you do that, you save it. And then once you save it, instead of you going into Gemini and just creating a new chat every time, right, without that persona or context, you don't have to do that every time. You don't have to say, I need you to do this task with this persona with this. You can just come into your sales strategist gem and just start typing away, and it's going to know exactly who it is and how it should respond. So this is a really, really great tool when people create multiple gems, basically a team of gems. You can have your sales gem, your ops gem, your HR gem, your finance gem, and it's really great. So these are also known as agents in some other platforms.
Oh wow, that's awesome. I've never thought about that. But I mean, I looked into it, but I never knew what was the system to build all those gems, and then I didn't knew that. I mean, Google has some agent. I mean, I didn't knew about it. It was just recently when we have this. I mean, I was about to put this thing on that I did some research about it, and then I knew I was like, oh wow, this is kind of incredible. So my next question will be, what is one of the kind of self-assessment, important before a business owner start using AI?
Yeah, I think important self-assessment is like, do you know your stuff? Do you know your stuff? Because the AI can help you, but it still can't know your business better than you do. So you have to be confident that you know your stuff in your business. So when AI gives you a suggestion, you can gut check and say, does that make sense? Yes or no? So I think, or even if someone else brings you some ideas that were presented by AI, you have to still be confident in who you are, that you know your business best. So that's, I think, a really important self-assessment. It's like, do you know your business?
Great. I love that. I love that. That's something all of the entrepreneurs that are out there you should tap into already, because the thing is, it's not about just using AI, it's just about knowing your business first before
Yes.
getting using AI. Because I believe that, AI is something that can help you, build on top of your business, the ideas you already have, not just come in and then build a whole new business for yourself. I really like that. Yeah.
I'll give a quick example. So back in the day when I would pitch, investors for funding, They would grill me. They would ask me all types of questions about my business, very detailed things. And there will be a couple of things I'm like, oh, I don't know that. And then I'm like, oh, I have to get back to you. And I would go write it down. And then I would figure it out. And I would have it for all my future meetings. I'll be able to follow up with them via email with the answer. If one thing I've noticed is if I'm just preparing things with AI, then I don't know it.
Right.
I don't know. AI just kind of gave it to me and I sent it off. I don't truly know the information. So if I'm in a live one-on-one with someone in person or we're going back and forth, I can't look at my Gemini to see, oh, what did AI say? I have to know it up here. So that's why I said you have to know your business, because if you just type it into Gemini or any AI tool and you're like, oh, got the answer. When
Right.
someone starts to press you, you're going to crumble. And believe me, there's some things where I should have definitely done better research, but I just had AI give me the answers. I was like, I'm good. No, because when people start grilling you back-to-back questions, they want to see that you got it up here. So you just have to really know that information.
Right. I thoroughly agree with that. That's something
Yeah.
maybe I used to be doing before, just throw all those information into it and then just copy it and paste it without even taking the time to really read into it, see what AI is giving me. Is that something I really need or I don't need? So that really clear me more into some. Yeah, it's fun that you really pointed that out. I really love that. So let's move into the prompting. You describe prompting as giving specific instruction to AI tool so it can achieve what you want it to do. So, what makes a strong AI prompt different from a general or unclear prompt?
Yeah, it's really that framework that I gave. There's a whole bunch of frameworks. There's like the Pop-It framework. There's a framework that I shared today. You have to use a framework. And if you're not using a framework, then your prompting sucks. Sorry. Like just going to throw it out there. If you're not using a framework, then whatever you are getting out of the tool you're using is not as good as it can be, because you're just like throwing things in there. And if you throw things in there, it's just going to throw things back at you. And sure, it sounds good. A lot of things sound good, but is it actually good, right? So yeah, what makes a good prompting strategy is one that follows a framework.
Yeah, and then I'll piggyback on that real quick. Where my boss always, my CEO, Miss Karen, she always tell me that, hey, garbage in, garbage out. So keep that in mind, guys. You gotta be clear on what you're telling, the AI to tell you, and then it's gonna bring you that response that you want back. So
Exactly.
please do that due diligence, please. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. So great. You also share that a helpful structure for prompting, which is task, persona, format, context, and references. Why are those five elements important when asking AI to help with a business task?
Yeah. So what the frameworks, if it's this framework or another one like Pop-It, for instance, help the AI to do is not hallucinate.
Mhm.
So, you know how if you go up to someone and you ask them a question and they kind of know the answer, so they
Right.
start answering you, but then they kind of start making up some stuff. You could kind of tell they're making stuff up. You're like, why don't you just say you don't know? AI is going to make it's not going to say, I don't know. It's going to make some stuff up. So that's why having a good framework is important, so that the AI does not hallucinate. So that's why that's important. Because if not, it'll just start, oh, well, making it up, but it sounds a lot better coming from AI than it does a person.
Perfect. I love it. I think that's the one thing that happened to Cloud too recently, where they were hallucinating with the AI thing, right?
Hmm.
Right, cool. I really love that. That makes sense. Sometimes business owners try, an AI tool once, and they do not get the result they expected and stop using it. So what advice would you give those entrepreneurs about evaluating the output, improving the prompt, and trying it again?
Yeah, I think it's sometimes you need to know when you need to stop trying. Like there was a problem I was trying to solve with AI recently, where I was looking to help me respond to someone who had asked me a question about a product, a very specific technical thing about this product. And AI, I gave it all the context that I had, but even with that, it still was misinterpreting the question. And it gave me a response that sounded very eloquent and smart. But I was like, but this is wrong. But it's wrong. And I just had to say, I'm abandoning this. AI obviously cannot handle the complexity and the nuance of this question. So sometimes that's why when that act responsibly slide, when I talked about having a human in the loop at all times, sometimes you need to know when AI just is not going to be able to do it for you. Like, hey, it has great capabilities, but sometimes you should not try again. You should just rely on your own brain and use that to get the job done.
Oh, perfect, perfect. I love that. So I want to spend more time into talking about a notebook LM. Notebook LM. That is a tool that I think it came out in 2025, late 2025, beginning 2026. And then I looked at it the first time, and then I put just one sentence in it, and it was just bringing me all those ideas and how I can map it. All those mapping of ideas and all this stuff. So now let's talk about really saving time. Time is one of the biggest challenge for entrepreneurs and small business owners. What type of repetitive or tedious business tasks are you a good candidate for AI support?
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's so many of them. Um, I'm trying to think of one that I've used recently that really helped me. Oh, so one thing that I've started using it for specifically with Gemini. So I don't know if you all have seen now that Gemini exists within Gmail. Have you seen that?
Yep, I've seen
Yeah.
it.
So Gemini exists within Gmail, which is great. So I was looking specifically for a contract that I signed like 4 years ago. 4 years, all right. And I
Mhm.
was searching specifically the name of the people who had sent it to me. But there's been so many emails back and forth with these people. But I was looking for a specific clause within this contract to know what our obligation was as a business. And it was taking me, I had spent maybe like 20 minutes looking for this thing, and I just was having a hard time finding it because it was nested within multiple replies, and I really got over it. So I was like, well, let me try to use Gemini for this. So I said, hey, Gemini, I'm looking for a contract from this person that was about this, and I need to know about this clause, right? Like if we still have an obligation around this. Can you help me? It literally found the email, found the contract, then read the contract, and then found out of that huge contract, the document, the
Wow.
specific clause I was looking for. It was like, hey, and it hyperlinked, this is the email you're looking for. You can click on it. This is the date it was sent. This is the contract, and this is the provision and the page that it's on. And I'm going to highlight for you what you're looking for. It was so great. So I was spending so much time looking for this thing, and I was procrastinating because I got over trying to find it. And then I was like, let me try Gemini. Solved it within literally 30 seconds.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's mind blowing. I might have to I try to do that sometimes, but I think it was only on one contract that I did that on, and then I was like, this is what I was looking into.
Yes.
But
Yes.
that's really, really mind blowing. Yeah, and then I wanted to ask that question too. So, about Notebook LM. For me, that's the greatest so far what I'm looking into. And then I think that Google has launched Omni too, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
So I want to ask this question. How can those tools like Notebook LM help entrepreneur organize information and make faster, more informed decisions?
Yeah. So Notebook LM, what's great about it versus like a Gemini or some of the other tools out there is that a lot of the other tools are about uh, it going out there and it researching what's out in the ether and then bringing you back information. Whereas like Notebook LM is more of like a repository of your information and then being able to make smart decisions about your documents, your information, your business model. So it's really nice because instead of leveraging everything that's out there, you're leveraging your own internal information, which makes it much more accurate. And then also, you can even do things like practice with your own information. So let's say I have a sales or investor presentation and I upload, like I said, the deck, the investor deck, our projections, and maybe a list of the questions I've been asked in the past. And then I can just say, hey, like, what do you think is my greatest challenge in trying to pitch this investor? And then it'll tell me based upon on all the information I've given it. So that's what makes it so powerful, where you can't necessarily do that in like a Gemini or the other tools.
Oh, perfect. I like that. I like that. So I will just jump into the next question, Rico. Business owners may use AI and with client information, and which is very, very important. And then all those internal document and sensitive business data. What should entrepreneurs keep in mind when using AI responsibly and protecting their businesses or customer information, especially if ethically? Like, what should we do?
Yeah. So I'll say there's two things you could do. One is before you input that information into AI, you can scrub like the personal identifiable information. So maybe remove the client name, or if there's anything covered by like an NDA, like don't put that in there. If That's one. Two, you can also, what I see a lot of businesses do, they buy their own instance, their a business plan, because the business plans just, they have more protection, and it's like your instance of that LLM. So that's something else I would say is, if you can afford it, you have the budget, just get your own instance.
Perfect. I like that. Love that. So, one other question, and then before we can get into the upcoming event out here, which is, let's move into the action planning. The presentation encourage businesses owners to examine what they are really doing and test how AI can help them. What is one simple AI habit entrepreneur can start today to build confidence and fluency?
Yeah, I would say come into things like this, to be honest. I had went to a training. It was for Black product managers, and I went, and the product manager who was presenting was talking about AI and did demos, and I learned new things I hadn't seen before. But it's going to different workshops with like-minded people, learning a new skill, and that's how I build confidence myself. So I would just say, by doing, just putting yourself in front of it, and trying to see what you learn and what you know and what you don't know.
Perfect. One last question before we move to the closing. What is the final advice you would give to entrepreneurs who want to use AI and just not just a tool, but as a partner in building stronger system in their businesses?
Yeah, I would say use multiple tools, because one, you never do know like what you may learn, or the different use cases some tools are better at than others. So just be well versed on what's out there, so when you want to adopt something for your business, you know why you're adopting it, you feel really confident around that. So I would just say, like, give yourself the ability to really just try all the different things that are out there. And if you could take like a free AI certificate course like that Google gives, I would definitely take that. So take advantage of the free resources as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jasmine, for this presentation and all these questions that you'll be asking, and we'll be asking, and then you'll be answering them so diligently for us. This is a great time that we have together, especially talking about AI and then all those tools that Google is launching to help business and entrepreneurs, get the everyday tasks and everyday jobs, really easy for them. So I will encourage all of those entrepreneurs, all of those business owner founders to get into AI, not necessarily using it as as the your business solution, but use that persona, use that background that yourself you have into that business before using that AI tool. So I think with that we should be the best business entrepreneurs in the next generation coming up. So thank you very much,
Thank
Jasmine.
you.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, here are some few upcoming mark events and programs that mark our calendar. So, Green and Grounds, which is our coffee contact, is coming up, and our next Green and Grounds will be held July 9th at 8 a.m. with Nebraska Enterprise Fund and JP Morgan Chase, and it's going to be at the Elevator Center, which is going to be at North Omaha. North Omaha. And then our Rising CEO program, the registration is currently open for our Rising CEO program. Please, all the kids that are the teenagers, 14 to 19, and all those parents that really want to see their kids being, in those kind of program, teaching them business planning, financial literacy, please send them our way. And then we want to help them to, thrive in this generation that we have in, because we believe that, learning, teaching them literacy already, and then especially financial literacy is gonna help them tremendously in their upcoming life. So we really encourage all of them. Come on, and we're gonna get them on. We have the Mac Accelerator program for cohort, which is launching on July 1st. So any endeavor into business, you are looking into go into business, please come on up. We're gonna help you build your business plan. Again, financial literacy. And then not only that, we're gonna help you with your pitch deck. So all this tool that we have with Google, we're gonna teach you how to use all those tools and during those programs. So it's a 12-week program, and then we're gonna teach you all those things. And then one of the our partner is Kaufman Foundation, which helps us with building our business plan. So please get along, and then we'll be here to help you, all of you. We have our Mac Foundation scholarship drive that is going on now. Please, we encourage all of those parents and all of those donors that are out there that can help us into, giving all those students that hope again to go to school, and then giving them that little, it's just nothing, just 1,000 we give it them, but please, we just want you to help us helping them, and then helping the kids is just helping the future generation. So please come on up and then help us giving them all that scholarship. The Mac Foundation nomination is still going on. Anybody that you know in our community, individual, organization that you know that did something tremendously this year, please go ahead and nominate them. We want to really award them at the end of this year at our gratitude gala, which is coming up on November 7th. So we encouraging massively all our community members to vote an individual or an organization that you see that is really deserving this award. So please go ahead and submit them. And the nomination are closing July 31st. Our Global Agora X by Mac, which we are announcing for January 27, 2027, is going to be our international business and trade and initiative, which is going to be convening all those actor in the trade sector, which is gonna be in Togo, Ghana, Benin. We are looking into that, and then Nebraska as well. So we are looking into partner with all those people that are out there want to get into it. Please mark your calendar. Is coming up. It's gonna be a webinar. This is the first time we are doing this, and then like I said, there's gonna be a lot of people from all this region, West Africa, Nebraska, and then the Atlanta region too as well. That's going to be joining us for this. So thank you very much. We appreciate your continued support as we work to empower our community through business education, entrepreneurship, and economic opportunity. Jasmine, thank you again for sharing your time, your knowledge, and practical tools with us today. Your insight into how entrepreneurs can use AI to identify opportunities, automate workflows, save time, and build practical business system will definitely help our members take action with more confidence. To our audience, thank you for joining us for this Power Hour Business Development virtual live stream presented by Google. If you like more information about the Mac Chamber or ways to get involved, please visit the www.midlandsafricanchamber.com or connect with us directly on our social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. We are there to help you out. So have a great evening, and we look forward to seeing you at our next upcoming Mac Chamber event. Thank you all. You have a great night. Bye-bye.